Anna believed her marriage was a safe harbor. Their suburban home in the outskirts of Seattle stood as a quiet witness to their routines: morning coffee with sunlight spilling onto the kitchen tiles, evening board games, and the soft hum of laughter that echoed down the hallways. Life wasn't glamorous, but it was steady, predictable, and warm. She worked as a nurse in a small private clinic, juggling night shifts and early mornings with practiced calm. Zach, her husband of 14 years, ran a boutique advertising firm with 2 longtime colleagues. Their schedules often clashed, but somehow it worked. They met in the kitchen, passed one another at the door, and left love notes on the fridge. Their daughter Emma, 12 going on 30, was the soul of the house. Every Friday, without fail, the family ordered pizza, curled under a blanket, and watched old comedies Emma half understood but loved anyway. Summer meant trips to Lake Chelan, lazy swims, and Zach showing Emma how to skip stones. It was the kind of ordinary magic Anna had once only dreamed of. Saving for Emma's college had been their quiet mission. Every tax refund, every holiday bonus, and even Zach's side freelance gigs all contributed to a fund that sat untouched in a high-interest savings account. The numbers grew slowly but surely, like bricks laid one by one to build her future. Anna had grown up with very little. A single mother who worked double shifts, second-hand clothes, and free school lunches. She had fought her way into nursing school, determined to break the cycle. Giving Emma a debt-free education wasn't just a goal. It was a vow she whispered to herself every time she transferred money to that account. Zach had always nodded along, supportive if not especially involved. He let Anna handle the finances, saying she was better at it. She believed him. After all, trust was their foundation, unspoken but deeply embedded. When one faltered, the other adjusted. That was their rhythm. That was marriage. They never argued much. When they disagreed, it was quiet, almost clinical. Zach avoided drama, and Anna prided herself on patience. Friends often called them low maintenance. They didn't need grand gestures to prove anything. Their love was in the ordinary, the shared glances, the grocery lists, the umbrella one always packed for the other. In Anna's eyes, they were a team, not perfect, but real. They had weathered layoffs, miscarriages, and long nights with colicky Emma. Each hardship, she believed, had only soldered them tighter. Their love was earned, not assumed. She never questioned its durability. Until one seemingly normal day, when everything that felt solid cracked beneath her feet. The truth didn't come in a storm. It arrived quietly, like a draft through a closed window. And once it crept in, nothing ever felt warm again. It began with small things. Zach started coming home later than usual, offering vague explanations about meetings that ran long or last-minute deadlines. His phone, once left unattended on the kitchen counter, was now guarded. Passwords changed. Notifications silenced. Anna noticed but didn't comment. She gave him space, assuming stress was the culprit. Then came the credit card issue. At the grocery store, her payment was declined. Confused, she used a different card and shrugged it off. Later that night, she checked their account and saw the credit limit had been maxed out. Zach claimed it was business expenses and promised to clear it soon. Still, something itched beneath the surface. Anna couldn't shake the feeling. It followed her to work, sat beside her on the couch, whispered to her as she drifted to sleep. She found herself checking their shared accounts more often, telling herself it was just to stay organized. One evening in early May, Anna opened the college fund account to make their monthly deposit. She blinked twice. The balance, which had always hovered near $72,000, was gone. All that remained was $14.89. Her breath caught. She refreshed the page. Same numbers. She told herself it was a glitch. She closed the app and opened it again. Still empty. Panicked, she downloaded a full transaction history. Her eyes scanned rows of charges. Upscale restaurants, boutique hotels, airline tickets, luxury stores, all within the last 6 months, all traced back to the same account. Every transaction was listed under Zed Harris. Her husband's full name, Zachary Harris, spelled out like a confession. She scrolled further, finding jewelry purchases in Miami, spa packages in Los Angeles, and a hotel booking under 2 guests. Her hands trembled as she clutched the printout. The dates aligned too perfectly. Weekends he said he was working late, business trips that suddenly extended, dinners he skipped with vague apologies. The story wrote itself, line by line, through charges and dollar signs. A life she hadn't known existed unfolding in front of her. Her stomach turned. This wasn't carelessness. It wasn't business mismanagement. It was deliberate. He hadn't just lied. He had drained the one thing they both claimed to value, their daughter's future. And he had done it quietly, without shame, as if she would never notice. Anna sat at the kitchen table long after the printer stopped humming. The pages lay in front of her like evidence at a crime scene. The room around her felt unfamiliar. The chairs, the lamp, the faded calendar with Emma's exam dates, all of it suddenly foreign. Something inside her cracked. She didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, she felt sticky. As if everything around her, air, time, memory, had thickened. Nothing moved easily anymore. The weight of betrayal settled in her chest like wet concrete. The trust she had lived on for 14 years began to rot in silence. The digital trail led unmistakably to Miami. Plane tickets, hotel stays, spa appointments, all centered around that city. Anna didn't confront Zach. She observed. She kept quiet, folding the anger into neat corners inside herself, waiting for more. Her nature wasn't fiery. She didn't break plates or raise her voice. She needed truth, not drama. Unsure how to access the full picture, she turned to her younger brother, Daniel. He worked in cybersecurity and owed her more than one favor. Together, they quietly accessed an old tablet Zach had forgotten to disconnect from their cloud. It still synced messages from his secondary email. What they found wasn't ambiguous. There were dozens of chat threads with one contact, no name, just a heart emoji. The messages were casual and intimate. Phrases like, "I miss you, Tiger," "another wire transfer and we're free," and "she'll never see it coming." Anna scrolled in silence, her mouth dry. There were photos too. The same woman appeared in most of them. She looked to be in her early 30s, sun-kissed and bold, often posing by pools or in luxury hotel rooms. She wore bright lipstick, oversized sunglasses, and tight clothing that screamed confidence. One detail repeated, an elaborate dragon tattoo curling around her ankle. That dragon became seared into Anna's memory. In every photo, it stared back like a smirk. On a yacht deck, by a balcony, in bed. Always the same ankle, the same symbol, like a brand that marked everything Anna wasn't. The woman didn't hide. She posed like someone sure she would win. The chat history revealed trips Zach had taken without mentioning them. One message joked about the wife being clueless. Another included an itinerary and a screenshot of a deposit confirmation. Anna copied everything, messages, dates, photos, and saved them to a flash drive labeled "for later." At home, her silence thickened. She moved like a ghost through their routines. Zach didn't seem to notice. He kissed her cheek in passing, commented on the weather, and made jokes at dinner. Anna smiled mechanically. Her mind was elsewhere, always calculating, always remembering the dragon. Emma, perceptive as ever, began to sense the tension. Her mother's quiet had changed texture. It wasn't peaceful anymore. It was sharp. She watched Anna stare into space, flinch at text notifications, forget to add blueberries to the pancakes they always made on Sundays. Something had shifted. One evening, as Anna sat sorting mail, Emma entered the room without a word. She hesitated at the doorway, then crossed the room and sat down. Her voice was small, but steady. She asked the question Anna had been dreading, whether her father had taken the money meant for her future. Anna didn't answer right away. Her hands remained frozen above the stack of envelopes. The question hung in the room like fog, curling into every shadow. And though no answer came that night, something between them changed. Emma knew, and Anna knew that she knew. Anna had imagined many outcomes, tears, apologies, denials, but she hadn't expected her 12-year-old daughter to sit beside her one evening, open a laptop, and offer a plan. Emma had always been precocious, fascinated by numbers, and unusually observant. She saw patterns where others missed them, and now she saw something else. An opportunity. Emma wanted to be an economist. She read financial blogs instead of fashion magazines and could already explain compound interest better than most adults. With calm precision, she outlined an idea, a trap disguised as a business investment. Anna listened, stunned by her clarity. Together, they built it. A website that mimicked a sleek marketing startup, complete with testimonials, portfolios, and a promise of exclusive returns. It looked professional, even alluring. They gave it a name that sounded just vague enough to be trendy. Emma coded most of it herself, learning as she went. Anna reached out to a lawyer, one who specialized in digital evidence and asset protection. She didn't mention Zach by name, just hypothetical scenarios, potential theft, documentation. The lawyer, intrigued, offered guidance and created a new escrow account under legal supervision. That would be their destination. They seeded the website with bait, language that appealed to someone like Zach. Fast growth, limited time entry, early investor advantages. When Anna casually left the site open on the home computer, it didn't take long. Zach clicked. He read. He asked no questions. Within a week, he reached out using the contact form. Using an alias, Anna responded as a founder of the company. She answered his questions, sent him pitch decks, and promised updates. The money transfers began small, test payments, then larger. Zach believed he was cleverly laundering his stolen savings into a new revenue stream. He had no idea the account was being watched. Each transaction landed in the lawyer's account. Each email Zach sent was preserved. Screen recordings captured his logins, file downloads, and communications. They archived everything, dates, times, amounts. It wasn't just revenge. It was architecture, carefully constructed legal scaffolding for what Anna knew was coming. Emma tracked the money like a detective. She created spreadsheets, monitored timestamps, and cross-referenced Zach's messages with the real-world expenses he continued to hide. She even color-coded the funds, red for stolen, green for trapped, gray for pending. Her focus never wavered. Zach remained unaware. He smiled at dinner, still believing he held the upper hand. He spoke about upcoming business trips and mumbled excuses about delays in his clients' payments. Anna listened, nodding, pouring wine. The house became a quiet stage, the script rewritten nightly. The folder on Anna's desktop grew steadily. It was labeled simply, Divorce. Inside were PDF files, screenshots, bank records, and a complete breakdown of where every stolen dollar had gone. Each click of the mouse felt like one more nail in the coffin of a marriage that had already died. The divorce proceedings moved faster than anyone expected. Anna, composed and methodical, arrived in court with thick binders of evidence. Bank statements showed the depletion of Emma's college fund. Screenshots traced every transaction to luxury gifts and travel booked for a woman with a dragon tattoo. There were even forged withdrawal requests, signed with shaky imitations of Anna's handwriting. Zach arrived wearing a suit that didn't quite fit and a confidence that cracked under scrutiny. He denied everything, claimed Anna had manipulated the data, accused her of spying, called the site entrapment. He insisted the woman was a business associate and the money was part of a marketing campaign. The judge was unmoved. The paper trail was irrefutable. Emails, deposits, and metadata painted a damning picture. Zach's story shifted with each new piece of evidence. He went from indignant to defensive to silent. Anna never raised her voice. She let the facts speak, and they roared louder than anger ever could. When the judge asked about the drained college fund, Anna calmly provided a ledger. Each dollar accounted for, each lie illuminated. Zach's only response was a shrug, followed by vague comments about financial pressure and personal struggles. His lawyer looked increasingly defeated as the hearing dragged on. Then came the tax revelation. Anna's attorney had uncovered a lien placed on Zach's business by the IRS, years of back taxes, ignored letters, and now an official notice of pending asset seizure. The judge reviewed the documents, raised an eyebrow, and added the finding to the record. Emma sat quietly throughout the session, her hands folded, her posture straight. She didn't cry. She didn't fidget. She watched her father the way a chess player watches a losing opponent, curious, detached, already knowing the outcome. He avoided her gaze entirely. At one point, Zach tried to appeal to the room, saying he was misunderstood, claiming Anna had turned Emma against him. But the court wasn't listening. The truth had already weighed in. The judge ruled in Anna's favor, granting her full custody, sole control of the remaining assets, and restitution from future earnings. Outside the courtroom, the air felt cleaner. Anna stood on the courthouse steps, the final paperwork in her hand. She didn't smile, but something in her shoulders softened. Beside her, Emma stared ahead, not at the building behind them, but into the horizon. There was nothing left to say. The masks were gone. Zach's charm, his excuses, his polished narratives, all burned away under the scrutiny of truth. What remained was a hollow man and the wreckage of his choices. Anna didn't look back. She had learned that silence could be justice too, when paired with preparation. A year later, Emma was thriving. She had earned a scholarship to a prestigious private school known for nurturing gifted students. Her aptitude in mathematics and critical thinking had impressed the admissions board. She adapted quickly, making friends, joining clubs, and finding a rhythm in a world that finally matched her pace. Anna had sold the house. Every room once filled with routine and betrayal was left behind. She and Emma moved to Portland, into a modest apartment with creaky floors and morning light that spilled across the kitchen. It was smaller, quieter, and completely theirs. She found work at a local nonprofit focused on housing support for women in crisis. The job paid less than nursing, but it gave her purpose. She spent her days helping others rebuild lives from the ashes of deception, quietly stitching hope back into the seams of strangers' stories. The funds recovered from Zach's schemes had been secured in a trust. The account was structured to be untouchable by anyone but Emma, with provisions for college, living expenses, and emergencies. It was a safety net woven with legal precision and maternal resolve. Zach disappeared from their lives without resistance. He didn't write. He didn't call. No birthday cards, no court appeals. Just silence, like a shadow that slips under the door and never returns. Neither of them mentioned him anymore. There was no anger left, only distance. In their living room hung a small wooden sign Emma had made in art class. Painted in navy blue with white block letters, it read, "You can't build dreams on lies." Anna passed it each morning, touching its corner like a ritual. It reminded her of what had been lost and what had been saved. Evenings were different now. They cooked together, read aloud from the same book, took long walks with no destination. They didn't talk about the past unless it came up naturally. Healing didn't mean forgetting. It meant choosing what to carry and what to lay down. Emma grew taller and more confident. Her eyes held focus beyond her years. She still loved numbers, but now she talked about ethics too, about fairness, impact, balance. Anna watched her with quiet awe, knowing that pain had shaped her but hadn't defined her. Anna no longer measured safety by appearances. She measured it in laughter that came easily, in a door they both locked at night, in the sound of Emma humming while brushing her teeth. The calm no longer felt like waiting. It felt like living. There was no grand revenge, no final confrontation, just movement. Forward, steady, clear-eyed. They had rebuilt their life, not with fire or fury, but with choices. And in that quiet resilience, Anna saw the greatest kind of justice. The kind that doesn't chase the past, the kind that walks away from it.